Hi there, everybody. I'm Jack Church, and welcome to my podcast, The Jack Church Show. You may be watching via our YouTube channel, or you've downloaded it from one of your favorite providers, and either way, we always appreciate you checking in. If you do happen to be watching on YouTube, you can no doubt see I'm in a beautiful coastal location today. This is the second show that I'm doing from a coastal community. A few days ago, though, I was along the Gulf of Mexico in northern Florida. Today, I'm along the Atlantic coastline in the Cocoa Beach area. The reason I'm out and about in these areas is because this was the week of what would have been my beautiful Pam and mine's 39th wedding anniversary. And as I've talked about in a previous program, there are a lot of different ways that people choose to celebrate special dates. Sometimes we ignore them, sometimes we celebrate them, and sometimes we curl up in a ball and we just cry about them. Well, for me this week, the choice was to go out and celebrate, just like I did last year. But this is the second year now that I've done this. And oftentimes, in dealing with loss, many people say the second year can be a tougher time. And I always wondered why they said that. Well, I'm kind of learning a little bit about what they mean. Now, mind you, I've had a pretty good week. But the big thing that I've done, and I always encourage you to do this as well, is to put yourself out there. I've met a lot of people along the way. And with those people, I share with them Pam and mine's love story. I then share with them about the podcast, the YouTube channel, and the things that I'm doing to help me in my recovery. Don't know if I should call it a recovery. Not sure that's the right word to use either, but in my journey, in my healing, so to speak. But what I do want to let you know is that with all of these people that I meet along the way, they oftentimes will share with me stories as well. An example today, I played golf in Cocoa Beach, was paired up with a couple of guys who were from New York. They weren't retired, they worked together and were down here for the week. And we got to talking and I told them our story and they wanted to know more about Pam, and then they told me about their marriages, and one of their marriages unfortunately ended in divorce, and he said that was so incredibly difficult. And we've talked about that before. Sometimes divorce can be even more painful than a death because in that case, the person that you loved is still here, but they don't love you back. So that can be difficult. So we had a nice conversation. And then as we ended our round of golf, well, here it came. One of the gentlemen tells me that a good friend of his who was several years younger, he'd just gotten word yesterday that his sweet wife had died and she was only 48 years old. He said, I have no idea how he's going to be able to get through this. And I told him, I said, well, he will, but it's going to be really, really difficult. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's one of the worst things you can go through in life. I asked him, though, would you mind sharing with me his name? And he did. And I'm able to connect with him now through some of the social media areas. And I'm going to reach out and maybe offer some support. And yes, he's a complete stranger to me. I'm a complete stranger to him, but we now share a connection. We often talk about this club of grievers as one none of us want to be a member of, but at some time, if you're in a relationship, one of you will end up in this club. It's not a lot of fun. And let's get back to my second year and why maybe it is just a tad more difficult this year. And I had to think about that and figure out why is it a little harder the second year? Well, I think what it was is in the first year, I was still somewhat in shock. It was still really fresh. It had only been 3 months when our anniversary came around. And prior to that, I went through Thanksgiving and Christmas that came within that 3-month period as well. So now it's been another year later. And now there's no shock. The shock is worn off. And now the reality sets in. And that reality is that Pam's never coming back. I'm never going to see her again. I'm never going to hear her sweet voice again. I'm never going to touch that beautiful body again. I'm never going to kiss her. All the other things that couples enjoy, not going to happen. Oh, we can kid ourselves into thinking it might, but it's not. And in that second year, I think it's kind of like just driving that nail in, that final hit. Yep, it's reality now. No more shock, it's the real deal. Now, as I've told you before, I am a believer. I'm a Christian. I do believe I'll see her again in heaven, but I don't know if it'll be the same. I don't even know if she'll remember me. We all want to tell ourselves they will and that we will reconnect, but we don't know. We really don't. A lot of those things we tell ourselves and others tell us, it's just to kind of make us feel a little better. But we all know the only thing that's really going to make us 100% again is to have our loved one back with us. And that's not going to happen. But we can still enjoy life. Is it going to be as much fun? Has this trip been as much fun? No. This trip's actually been a little difficult at times because I've been visiting areas where we lived, where we vacationed, where we raised our kids for a portion of their lives. And the memories are really fresh and they're strong. And of course, my mind starts to wander in that direction of, oh goodness, I sure wish she was here. This would be so much better. But it's okay. It's all right. I told you, I went to Disney. I went to Disney Hollywood. I went to Epcot. I've played golf. I've ate some great seafood. I've done some great beach walks. And I'll finish the trip seeing our daughter in North Carolina before returning home to Nashville, Tennessee. So I've seen and done a lot. I filled a lot of my days with some activities that have been, they've been fun. Again, not great. When I played golf, I'd much rather been playing with my old partner, Pam. She was my playing partner. But that's not going to happen again either, is it? So the bottom line is we have to deal with this change in our lives. And probably you're like me, we have those thoughts of what is the point anymore? Well, if you're still breathing, if you're still putting those feet down off the bed every morning, God still has a plan for us. And it's funny, today I talked to my parents on the phone. My dad called me. I still think that is so strange. My parents are still alive, but my sweet bride is not. But he was excited to tell me about some procedure they're going to do on his neck that's going to help him from stop falling down so doggone much. He's in his 80s now. And he was excited to share that information with me. And I thought, you know what? There he is, 80-something years old, going to have a surgery to do something to his neck that's going to help him from falling down, and he's excited about that. Something to look forward to. Him and my mom also found out that my brother and his wife may move closer to them in the state of New Mexico, and they're excited about that. So some things to look forward to. And that's what we have to do. We have to train our minds to find things to look forward to in life. It's okay to look back. It's okay for me to reminisce about the wonderful times we had here. But as I've said before, we got to be careful about getting bogged down in that. But it's hard. It's really hard. This whole grief recovery journey thing is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. But at the same time, I don't have a lot of fear anymore in life. How about you? I don't worry about things as much. We've seen the worst. Now we just have to look ahead, look forward, plan things. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Plan things to do, plan places to go. And as I mentioned on this trip, even where I'm staying in an Airbnb here, and I met two young ladies who are staying in the other side of the beach home from me. And we ended up having a great conversation. They were both Air Force wives here looking for homes because they're being transferred from Colorado Springs. Lo and behold, I told them how Pam and I used to live in Denver and went to Colorado Springs, and well, one thing led to another. We had a fantastic conversation. And yeah, I told them about the podcast and the YouTube channel, and they're going to check it out. So again, put yourself out there, friends. Keep trying. Keep pushing forward. Keep making the effort, no matter how hard it is. And I want to hear from you as well. You can always contact me via my email account. That's thejackchurchshow@yahoo.com. That's thejackchurchshow@yahoo.com. Until we talk to you later, have a great day. And you know what? We're going to work really hard at making a better tomorrow, right? We can do this, friends. We certainly can. So bye-bye now from beautiful Cocoa Beach, Florida.